All right. Good morning, guys. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Sorry, a little late this morning. My son is home from school, and so sorry. Let me mute the echo. What's up, Two Way, Salty, John Ennis, Salty Style, Frank, Juan, Melanie, Jose, Missouri, Netron, Huguetes. What's up, guys? Yeah, a little dull. I mean, we have one I was watching was MRNS, and I mean this thing went from five something to seven something, but then it gave it all back already. It's down to 575, and so that kind of not cancels it out, but makes me much less interested in it. What's up, Matthew? So yeah, we'll see what we get here. Let me see if I can get Mitch here. All right. Oh no, what do I do? Here we go. Yeah, man. I mean, it's been yeah, my son woke up like 4 or 5 times. His my father-in-law's in town today, and so my son woke up like over and over and over and over again last night. Um, and so we just didn't get that much sleep. That's how it goes sometimes, though. What's up, KC? Oh. All right, but yeah, watching VERI gapping up from 563 to 806. Curious to see what the news is for that one. MRNS looks good. Gonna watch AMD, NIO, Cron again. Market really took a dive on Monday. I think it may bounce today some. Or on Friday, it may bounce today some, I think. Man, NIO faded a few times Friday as well, but the whole market overall just took a dive. Let's see what the overall market's doing today. I mean, it's up some from where it closed. It's just where it's going to stop now. It's right around the lows. I mean, every day in every time it's gotten to this level in the last month and a half or so, it has bounced right here at the 260s. And so, curious to see what happens here. Per the daily chart, it's been bouncing. If you can see here, right when it gets to the 260 area, it typically bounces some. It's at 264 now, but it got as low as 261, so this may be the bounce. But if it breaks that area, we'll see what we get there as well. But yeah, look at MRNS. APHA was one that was moving. One that was moving on Friday. I don't think it's tradable for me, but this one looks interesting as well. We got CRON, the cannabis stocks. BTI. Gapping up some. British American Tobacco. We got KTOS. VBIV. Yeah, we got, market looks okay today. Not that much volume, honestly. What are my thoughts on AMD? AMD tanked Friday with the overall market. It's down a lot. Looking at the daily chart, I mean, it still has some room, really, if it's going to get back down to the 17s. But who knows? I guess I'm a little bit more long biased with it just because it had such a big red day Friday. This huge red day Friday. So I guess I'm thinking it's probably going to push up some. But we'll see. You never really know, I guess. AMD is one of those stocks. Like, if you look at my stats, I went over this the other day, but like AMD is one of the only stocks I've been trading. And the reason for that is because it's actually working, Like, these are my stats in the last 2 weeks. And like, if you look at instrument, you can see AMD is the top stock that I've been trading the last few weeks. 87% accuracy rate. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching AMD. But whether... Man, I just dropped my phone. Hopefully I didn't break it. I don't think I did. So whether I trade it or not, I'll definitely be watching it. Yeah, man. Big sell-off on Friday for a lot of these different stocks, man. I was actually surprised at how bad everything kind of sold off on Friday. You know, look at some of the cannabis stocks too. They're bouncing some. They actually, I mean, if you look at the cannabis stocks, you could look at Friday and be like, man, that was a big red day, but it wasn't really. I mean, it was a red day, but it wasn't that bad. It was actually break even. And, Thursday night, the Cron at least gapped up from 10s to the 14s. And so it's still actually up in the last few days for the cannabis stocks. And maybe I'll watch those for a potential fade if they can come back down some. Same thing with CGC and BEV. When I say that, I mean, I'm really just judging it off of how many gappers there are. And so, I'm going to look at, I'm looking to see how many gaps in the market there are, like how much movement in pre-market. So like movement, a good example of movement is like MRNS. And although I don't like this one, the volume's really nice. And so like it makes it really easy for me to map out pre-market levels because the volume's pretty good. And so I can just map out the levels in pre-market here and try to follow those closely. Whenever a stock has zero volume, it's kind of like, I guess, NIO, where it's like it's moving some. It's moving, but there's just no volume there with it, like in pre-market. Or what's another example? You'll see stocks that have no volume. It's just kind of how it goes. TENX is one that moved Friday. And so really, I'm just looking for overall volume. Typically on good days in the market, we're going to see some gaps. We're going to see some movement. Today, I just don't see much I really like. But it's all subjective, honestly. What's up, Trey? What's up, man? Yeah, brother. Good to see you, man. Alright, so we'll see where Mitch is at. See if Mitch is hopping on here. He should be, I think. So you're using Sterling Trader with CME Group, Salty. Let me know how it goes, man. I'm curious to see how that's going to go. NTRI gapping up, which is a Nutrisystem. VERI moving some as well. I don't know if none of those really have good volume. Same thing with MITK, INPX, no volume. APDN, no volume. HX, no volume. AKAO, no volume. Yeah, this is what I mean when I just don't like. I mean, there's a few movers, but not anything super promising. Let's look at GERN, XNET, MPO, ACRE, BG. Yeah, nothing really looks good here, honestly. Interesting dream, Andrew. Interesting dream, brother. We got CZR popping up on the scanners here. But yeah, again, I mean, we just don't have that much movement today. It's an alright day. I mean, if a setup's there, I'll take it, but going to be a little selective today, I feel like, just because I don't see too much that I really like. Main watch is probably AMD, MRNS, since I can trade that one. Even though, I mean, the only way I'll watch MRNS is if it pulls back under this closing price and keeps going. You know, if it breaks under this closing price and keeps going, I'll consider shorting it, but that's it. We're going to watch NIO, Cron, CGC, and BEV. And that's really about it. I'm just not seeing too much else I really like. EZA. EZA has low volume too. I mean, it's gapping up a little bit, but the volume's just super low. ONCS. Yeah, ONCS doesn't look bad. I doubt I can trade it, but it doesn't look bad. Oh, we got Mitch here.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo. What's up, man?
What's it going? What's it going? How we doing?
All right, guys. We got Mitch here.
Hey, what's going on? Money Mondays. Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Another beautiful day.
Yep, yep.
Living the dream, man. Living the dream.
Yes, sir. Oh, I didn't get any sleep last night. I'm still living the dream. I'm just living the dream on no sleep, I think. But
hey, you know, living the dream though, at least.
Definitely living the dream, man. You know.
So looking for a rebound in the weed stocks today. Definitely think I could see a rebound coming. Did a slight pullback, not big at all relative to the move that actually happened. If you actually see on the daily chart of Cron, you really see that it had this really kind of nice flag with the support at 838 and now completely broken out. And as long as it holds above 1289, in my eyes, it's going to be in a bullish sense. So if it could stay above that, kind of hold these 1280s, get right back into those 13s, I could see it making that run towards that, kind of 52-week high there of 1530. So it's definitely going to be on the watch. Probably a lot more on the long side today. Yeah, definitely. Well, the weed stocks in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of stuff's going to rebound today. I think the market tanked. If you look at the SPY has bounced every time in the last month and a half. The SPY has gotten down to 260. It's bounced, and so I think the SPY is going to bounce. I think the overall market will bounce some, and I think the cannabis stocks will probably bounce too. But I'll be ready to short them if not, you know. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, I think definitely the overall market is going to continue on a downtrend. Just overall, as you've just been seeing it ever since probably about October, November area, just the fall off.
Right.
And we're not getting back there anytime soon, guys. The market overall is definitely looking weak. We're kind of taking back all the gains from the whole year.
We
And
already
this is
have.
why, yeah, this is why a lot of traders that do a kind of a buy and hold strategy, kind of holding for their retirement, they've made nothing this year. They were up at one point, probably about 10, 12, 15%. And if you didn't take any profits, you essentially have no profits now.
Right.
And you're actually kind of in looking into the waters as if we start breaking those 260s, this can really get down and really start looking like a bearish pattern here. We break down below 260s, I could see it going down to 254s. And if it breaks that, we could head down to a really bad area, probably those 240s, and heading back down to those 220s, kind of making up the 2 years of the Trump push.
Yeah, man.
One of the real keys that I am seeing is that a lot of stocks had pushes because of tax corporation cuts, and they're actually supposed to happen in 2019. It's kind of speculation, and I feel like it's been priced into the market. And now what we're going to see is the market kind of fix itself. Fix itself. Why? Because those corporate taxes and the cuts, they're just not going to produce the revenue to keep the market at these levels.
Right.
If you've been looking at kind of earnings and kind of corporation earnings, you kind of see that they're all spent a little bit more this year and the year before, kind of doing more investments and trying to structure their corporation, but in the end, not producing kind of winning the results that are going to be long lasting. Techs have definitely taken a hit. You look at stocks like AMD,
Yep.
Nvidia. Um, the tech leaders are really trying to starting to
Microsoft.
Microsoft, all those tech leaders, they're really getting hit, especially the microchip, the sector that really took off for the year and kind of led the boom. If you look at the QQQ, the QQQ has a lot of technological companies that are attached. The biggest companies are kind of in the QQQ, the strongest in the technology and semiconductors industry. And you could see a move down to the 150s on that daily chart. It breaks those 160s today. I could see that move down to the 150s.
Right. I mean, somebody asked if we are in a bear market, does that affect day trading at all?
I
Um,
mean, we're not essentially in a bear market.
right.
To be actually considered a bear market, you have to kind of not make gains. I think it's 3 straight quarters. I think it's 2 straight quarters to be in a recession, and 3 straight quarters will start getting you into what's called a depression, and then we'll be kind of leaning into a bear market. What we're kind of doing is we're kind of just pulling back from the kind of the extension. We always talk about extended stocks, and the market as a whole just kept on coming, and it eventually needs to come back down. So now it's trying to find a price level that it can find support off of.
Yeah, Joe said it well. You just need volatility. Direction doesn't really matter. I mean, it kind of does. Like, I'm not saying that I can't. That I'm. To put it this way, AMD's been trending down lately, and I've been shorting the heck out of it, and that's fine. But it doesn't mean that if the market's up, I've been shorting for the last year or so, and up until October, the market was heading up, and so it's been. If you look at the overall market, really, it's been kind of sideways for a month and a half now, and so it's not down actually. I mean, it's consolidated from 280 down to 260, back up to 280, down to 260, back up to 280, and now it's down to 260 again.
Yep. Hey, the rule of three. Right. Watch the crack come.
And so, I mean, we'll see what happens with it, but it's not like the market. I mean, the market's down. It retraced its gains over the last year, but I mean, if you look at the
definitely kind of
chart.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of what we call You definitely going to see some profit taking. Big traders are going to be taking some profits just to be on the safe side. I think that's why you see these kind of pullbacks. It's kind of traders making money and pulling back. They start noticing, yeah, we're getting too high up there. Let's start taking some profits, start rotating our stocks.
Play it safe.
Yeah, they start doing what's called stock rotation. They take it from one sector and they move their money into another sector.
Right.
So find the leading sector, find the kind of lagging sectors, and find where the price points are kind of cheap. In the lagging sector, you want to find kind of a sector that got hit really hard over the last kind of couple quarters, and that they have companies that are valued way undervalued. Essentially, their EPS is very low, and this you can take advantage of and expecting them to come back because fundamentally they're good stocks.
All right.
It's completely a different strategy, but definitely fun to look at as we see the overall market kind of change.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't hold any stocks really, Raybo. Do you suggest new traders short or long? I noticed you and other guys like to short have been practicing long scalps. Um, I think it's all preference, man. It's all subjective. It's all whatever, you're more comfortable with. Whatever, with shorting, you typically have to have a little bit bigger account because you have to have a margin account. It depends on what broker you're using, really. When I started longing stocks, and I actually think that made me short better, learning how to long. And so it's kind of ironic where it's like you learn how to short, and that might help you be a better long trader, and you learn how to go long, and that helps you to be a better short trader. And so it's kind of ironic a little bit, but it's all preference, man. All right, so let's look up some news. MRNS is kind of one of the more interesting ones this morning. Like I really said, I'm not going to want to jump into this one unless it breaks under 517, that previous day's closing price. Just because, I mean, it already filled the entire gap. Who knows how much momentum it has on the downside anymore. The reason MRNS is up is because of positive data from their depression drug study. The mid stage study of ganazoxolone IV, it was being developed to treat postpartum depression in women and was well tolerated in all dose groups and showed no serious adverse effects. That is what's causing MRNS to push up like this. I wonder why it gave it back though. It gave this entire gain back already before the bell, and so I'm curious to see why that happened.
It's fluff.
Yeah. I mean, it's positive data, but
I mean, it could be positive data, but it could be already into the stock. Doesn't need to mean that it's newly priced information.
oh yeah, this is fluff because they posted essentially the same thing December 4th. They posted pharmaceutical phase 2 clinical trial data shows effectiveness of their bio drug, and so that's what it is. Like they
it's promotion.
Right.
One of the key things is biotech stocks. A lot of times when they get close to important dates, they start releasing PR to kind of get it into their consumer's head. You get it out there with traders. Traders look at it.
Right.
It costs money for marketing, but that PR can cause your stock to take off.
Right. All right, so let's look at some other ones. I mean, to be honest, there's not that many good gaps right now. Like, there's a few. There's VERI. I'm going to look up VERI. It's not tradable, but, I mean, it's gapping. It looks like it's either an acquisition, a buyout, or something like that. Just because of how this thing, it gapped up really big, and then it kind of quieted down, and it's kind of acting a little strange, to be honest. So, we'll look up VERI here. Okay, yeah, so this is a cash offer to acquire Veritone, so VERI, for $10.26 a share.
Yeah. Only thing is it's not tradable.
Yeah, it's not. And so the cash offer for VERI. We also have RARX, which is retrace the entire gap as well. I don't really like that one either.
All right. Man, I was gonna look for a kind of daily breakdown on Yelko, but they already made it not tradable. Also, PTI not tradable.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, the volume has kind of died down on those. I think that's
Yeah,
the main reason. ONCS looks good. We can look up the news for ONCS, although it's under $1. I doubt it's tradable.
it just looks like to me Yelko is gonna make up that gap. Um, it has from 480 there all the way down to $2. Good gap there.
Yeah, so ONCS sold $7 million worth of shares to ALPHA Holdings, Alpha Holdings, at $1.50 per share. Um, that's a pretty high premium on those. A company developing intratumoral cancer immunotherapies. Yeah, it announced it received $7 million in investment at $1.50 per share for Alpha Holdings. It's a fundamental strategic investment centered on the clinical development of Oncosex, which is ONCS's lead immunotherapy product candidate, TAVO. Interesting here, biodrug. We'll see what happens with ONCS. Not super duper confident in it, but we'll see what we get. Yeah, APHA is moving some. We'll see what we get. I'm not super confident in it either, and so it all just depends. We can trade. They did add APHA to us, Mitch, so we can trade APHA, um, and so that is tradable. So yeah, I mean we got MRNS, APHA, NIO, Cron, AMD, CGC, some of the cannabis stocks. See if we get some rebounds with those. That's what I'm watching today. Not a bad morning, I guess, but not the best either, I would say. RARX. I saw RARX. I didn't really it. I kind of lost interest in it. I mean, it's kind of a weird gap. It gapped up from 1646 to 29, and then now it's back down to 18 already in pre-market. So I mean, it it doesn't look great. To be honest, it looks pretty bad. All right, I'll look it up though. And it's weird. So RA Pharmaceuticals, which is RARX, it put out a release that said its phase 2 trial of its biodrug for myasthenia gravis treatment. It met its primary and secondary endpoints. Um, but why did it give it all back already? They must have saw something in this press release they didn't like because I mean it gapped up to 29 and then gave up another $11. Now it's back at 18. Um, so I'm not sure what is going on with RARX. If anybody can understands why this one's moving like it is, let me know because I'm curious. I mean, Elizabeth, we are day trading, and so stocks that I might be looking at, I'm looking at to fail, you know, and so it just depends on what kind of trading you're going to be doing. Um, I'm looking at MRNS, AMD, the cannabis stocks, CGC, CRON, maybe NIO, although the volume's not great. APHA is probably what I'm looking at. VERI.
I'm looking at Tiva and also AOBC.
Oh, yeah, Tiva's moving. AOBC maybe have a little bit of a gap to fill too.
Just keeping it on watch. Above 1429, I can see this stock just being a bullish stock. But if it crashes down hard through the 14s, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it looks okay. Um, I'll probably watch it, but
Yep.
all right, guys. Haven't had a losing day in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, really. Might keep an eye on ACB as well, and so we'll see if we can keep that streak going.
Yeah, remember, it's not the streak you need. Let's work on that sizing.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, it's not the streak.
Right. Well, this week I'm going for 300 shares, and so it's 300 shares today. Last week I did 200. Okay, had good results. I mean, I didn't lose last week, but definitely didn't hold to my levels, and so gonna move up. I'm either gonna do 250 or 300 shares today. Probably 300. But what's up, Jason? What's up, brother? And so it's just about sticking to my plan, giving myself reasonable levels to follow, and we'll see how that goes. We got about 5 minutes left. Hold it down, Mitch. I'll be right back. I'm gonna run to the restroom before the stream starts,
All right.
or before the market opens.
All right, guys, getting there closer to the bell here, guys. This is when you want to start visualizing your trade, knowing your key levels. It's always important to know your key levels. This is exactly what we teach every single night in our classes. One of the key things is we're going to go ahead and focus on our trading plan, stay in the process, realize that the approach is the destination. And if you don't have the right approach to trading, you might as well just hang it up right now and just watch us trade. We're using TEFs. It's through TradeNet. TradeNet is our kind of trade broker, and TEFs is who we trade through TradeNet with. Um, we have I have an intro account, and John has the student account right now. I have another student account that I have kind of tucked away, kind of doing a small account challenge here, really trying to test myself in upsizing and limiting the risk and trying to take some big swings here. We're seeing Cron get some really strong potential. I would love to see that stock get above 1320s today, above 1320s, and also APHA above 6. Should give some momentum and some good push.
Ooh, it's cold here in Texas, guys. It's cold, man. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely looking like a day where I'm going to be watching the scanners more often.
That's correct. Creativity, Timothy. But yeah, that's correct. So yeah, there's no PDT rule, but I can trade as much as I want. And so I enjoy using it, but let's get ready for the open. All right, watching MRNS, ACB, NIO, Cron, AMD, CGC, AOBC, APHA. All right, guys, we got 30 seconds, so good luck all. I know, hey, Ruckus, man. My stepfather's from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada, and so I do know what cold is, but don't have to deal with it much here in Texas. Maybe I embellished a little bit. What's up, Cool? What's up, John? Good morning, guys. Good morning, all. All right, here's the bell. Good luck. Let's have another green day today. Time to use 300 shares. We'll see how that goes. All right, APHA, we get a big drop right now. We're also getting one for ACB. MRNS, I'm curious to see where this one moves. But yeah, APHA dropping, AMD pushing up. ONCS spiking up, testing $1 now. ONCS. Let me put up the intraday scanners really quick, guys. Sorry about that. ACB dropping. Cannabis stocks dropping some. But yeah, ONCS pushed up to test $1. MRNS here. Not really that much movement. Cron dropping some. AMD spiking. HX popping up on my scanner. HX. Not really moving much. But yeah, ACB we're getting a drop.
Yeah, looking at APHA right now. Watching APHA.
For the fade.
Yep, for the fade.
But yeah, AMD spiking. You could look at AMD for a VWAP bounce there. You got some pre-market levels to base it off of.
Looking for 560s for APHA. Gonna risk off of 570s in this stock. 10-cent risk. We're gonna look for a 15-cent first gain, which would be at the bottom of it, and then for a 20-cent cron there at the VWAP.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I think the VWAP's too close to the high of the day for Cron.
AMD pushing really strong.
Yeah, man. AMD.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for that VWAP bounce there. The stock has a tendency of doing it.
Yeah, when it spikes up a lot of the time, AMD bounces.
Oof. APHA getting close to that mark where I wanted to get in. Just didn't fill me by 1 cent there, guys. Went to 59. I had an order out there at 60.
All right, I'm watching ACB here. If he gets up to 585, I'll jump in. 300 shares. Oh, I'm using 300 shares, Danny. So get ready, bro. It's got to get up there. Let me map out the pre-market levels real quick. We got 590. I think 590 is a reasonable risk.
Ooh, look at APHA. Just didn't get it. Didn't get a fill there. Had potential there, though.
All right, I am in ACB with 300 shares here. Looking for the fade. We'll see if we get it or not. Tight risk of 590. Like I said, been trying to scale up, so if I take a bigger loss today, that's okay. I'm just trying to use bigger sizing here, get used to using bigger sizing. And so if I take bigger than normal losses, it's just because my sizing's bigger than I usually do. So we'll see what we get. Got to be careful here. I don't really want to squeeze over 590. Ideally, obviously, I'm looking for a fade back down, but I'm going to let it touch my risk. It's down to 85. We'll see if it can break underneath the VWAP again. It's down to 86. Maybe jumped in a little early, but, you know, with 300 shares, I think it's all right. We're getting a little bit of a push down here. I also think it's a little bit smaller range of a stock. And so I think we're going to get... It's not going to move as quick. So we'll see what we get here for ACB. First profit can be taken at 75 if it gets down there. Squeezing up to 87. Like I said, I'm not really nervous in this trade. I kind of know my levels. Only reason I'm a little skeptical of it is because they had such big down days the other day. And so, you know, that's the only reason I'm a little bit more skeptical in it. But at the same time, I can let it test these levels and follow these levels pretty tight. It's building some resistance above it, which is good, but obviously want to see the fade back down. See if those levels can keep holding back down to 85s. Ideally, I want to see it down to 75, but maybe a little choppy in the cannabis sector today. We'll see.
Trying to get in Tiva here, but I think I missed it by trying to get a limit order at 79 instead of taking 76. It was a good attempt. Should have just marketed in, but didn't want to end up getting a 75 fill for when I wanted 79s. But it was a great trade there. Great possibility. Already at the first profit take. Would have been able to take a nice 20-cent gain there.
Don't stress it, brother.
Yeah, those limit orders just kind of kills me. Slows me down at least now with the 3-cent thing.
What's UXIN doing here?
It's kind of shooting off.
Okay.
I heard it, it's on watch right now with some chat rooms. So I think this is a chat room pump for UXIN, but I could be wrong there.
All right, we got 89s. This is when I got to start holding it pretty tight to my risk here. Like I said, I took a shot with 300 shares. I'm going to hold it pretty tight to 89. I don't want to see it break that. If it breaks that, I'm out. And so got to hold it pretty close to my risk here. All right, I'm out. All right, $30 loss, which is 10 cents. It just got really too close to that high of the day. I just didn't like that move. And so even if it fakes me out here, I think that was the reasonable place to exit this one. And so that's okay. I took my shot with 30 shares. That was the goal here. This is the first loss I've taken in like 2.5 weeks. And so it is what it is. I gave it my shot with 30 shares, with 300 shares. And I'm just going to stick to it, guys. I think that's the goal here. NIO. Looking a little bit better here for a fade. I like the risk on NIO.
I'm watching APHA after the wheat stock's kind of rejected. AMD really holding strong there.
Yeah, man. Look at that bounce on AMD.
Yeah, TiVo was a nice VWAP fade that I missed.
Nice work, Elizabeth. Good job. Congrats. Kron giving it back. So maybe I got squeezed out a little bit early for ACB here, but like I said, it got way too close to this previous high of the day. A lot of times when it tests this high, it can get squeezed up here. I would jump in NIO, but NIO volume's a little bit too low. I like the tight risk for NIO, but that's just how it goes. Most of the time, D&M Shaw we short, but it all depends on the day, man. APHA squeezing up there with the washout long, and ONCS is still pushing. Beautiful little bounce there for AMD, though. I will give it that on 1970s. Nice little bounce there. All right, but regardless, Danny, where is he? Danny, you owe me lunch when you pass through Texas, brother. But yeah, ACB just got a little bit too close to that high right here. It's just too risky for when that happens. You know, I'm not saying it's not going to fade back down, but it got way too risky. My risk was 590. Got out a little bit after that. It squeezed up to 592 on this move here, but you can see here it was just a little bit too risky to hold it once it tries to break that high of the day, because if it actually breaks this high, that's when a stock can really get squeezed up. And so I don't want to get caught in that squeeze. AOBC right around the VWAP.
All right, AMD looking really nice right here, guys. Might take a long on this right here as it's holding the support, creating those 3 resistance tries. One more pullback in the 80s, holding those 80s. That's what I want to see it kind of curve through.
And there's the drop on ACB. Like I said, even if this thing fades, I'm happy with where I exited it, just because it broke over the pre-market high. It tried to test the high of the day, and I'm just not trying to get caught in a high of the day break. AOBC ended up fading nicely, though. CGC is actually back down to the VWAP now, too. Cron, maybe a little VWAP rejection there. Yeah, the overall market sounds like it's reversing here, huh? Yep.
All right, AMD already breaking that high already. Kind of wanted to see it hold a little bit longer.
Cron, VWAP rejection. Cannabis stocks are probably going to start giving it up. And maybe I got squeezed out, but MRNS. What is MRNS doing? Is it up or down? It's kind of sideways. Hey, appreciate the sub, Isan and Claren. Appreciate it. Yeah, Cron had a nice little VWAP rejection there. Yeah, I think MRNS is probably going to fill this gap at least down to the closing price at 520s. But who knows, man. Oh, are you in a trade, Mitch?
Nope. Oh. I was looking at AMD and also at APHA. Like the VWAP reject there, but like in AMD now. Good structure there. Should have been able to take that 85 off of the 70, 79 level. Would have been a great trade right there.
STAF popping up on the scanners. Not really much volume.
Yeah, AMD just kind of missed it. Watching way too much on that long. Easy long to play there. Just didn't take a play. Easy long. Hesitation there, guys. Definitely should have taken that trade. I talk about this pattern time in, time out. 3 resistance tries, hold on the support. Right there on that last red candle at the 80s. Should have taken the trade somewhere in the 80s, risking off of that 78 level. Would have been a great trade. Would have been able to get that first push to 20 and then look for the extension past 20. I definitely think we could have made a great trade there. Just another slight hesitation on execution.
UXIN bouncing off the VWAP really nicely there.
Yep, strength there. That's what you see there. A big buyer stepping up there. 517s, $5.
Appreciate the sub, Cole. Welcome in. Appreciate it. SPY coming back. Little sideways action for the SPY though. But yeah, I took 300 shares. I think that was the milestone to get past. Maybe got faked out a little bit, but I took it. You know, that's the goal here, is to scale up.
Look at Tiva, man. That was pretty. Should have been able to take that trade.
I gotta hold myself back from not getting some FOMO in ACB because it ended up coming right back to where I was looking for. And honestly, I'm not that upset with it. It's kind of a tough pattern if you look at ACB to trade. It kind of squeezed up to the high of the day, broke the high of the day, came back down, got down to the lows. And so it's like, yeah, I could have made money on it, but I'm not upset with where my stop was on that trade. Market coming back down, just kind of acting choppy this morning. Like I said, MRNS, I'm looking for this thing. I think this thing's probably going to fill this gap at least back down to the 520s. But who knows? Anything could happen with it.
NIO getting some momentum there, guys. Blowing through the sevens.
Yeah, I almost traded that one for the fade. I didn't because the volume was so low. And I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, a lot of share size in NBUV at 9:30 at the open. Staff moving great. STAF.
AOBC back up to the VWAP. Kind of to the VWAP, close. UXIN just squeezing up here, just monstering up. Up to 530s. Yeah, definitely a long day for a lot of these, which is to be expected, I think, with how much the market dropped on Friday.
Yep. What's killing me is that Tiva trade. That was a beauty.
Yeah, UXIN is pushing up, squeezing up. Nice little VWAP bounce there for UXIN. Almost perfect bounce. Yeah, I mean, the cannabis stocks, they've been trending down the last few weeks. SPY really reversing here. Nice, Jeff. Good work, brother. Nice trade. What I am happy with, though, is that for my ACB trade, I gave myself a 10-cent risk, and I followed it down to a T. And so I lost exactly 10 cents on that trade. So happy with that. stuck to my risk level. Yeah, I've been looking at Domo too. Domo's right around the VWAP. We'll see what happens here. Risk of maybe 21, reward of 21.90. So it's a tight risk. But with the market coming down some, I don't know if I'm super confident in the bounce there. All right, guys, but if anybody's interested in signing up to TradeNet, you can go through my link. It gets you 10% off any TradeNet package you choose. I make a commission from it. It's one of the ways we keep this live stream free and always free. And so if you want to go through my link and help support the channel, you can. I just posted it in the chat. But like I said, it gets you 10% off TradeNet packages. Market's not looking too hot today, honestly. I'm not super excited about anything I really see. AMD, I'm curious to see what happens here, whether it gives it back or not. ACB ended up tanking, but like I said, it ended up kind of squeezing me out with that risk of 590, which I'm overall happy with, to be honest. We'll see with AMD. I mean, it could bounce off the VWAP here.
All right, watching Alpha here. APHA wanted to make another move, probably towards that high, maybe towards that 580 and then reject, getting above that. Then on its way down through the 570s, we can short it. Was thinking about here, but would have to hold off that probably 590 level or 585s. I think that's a little bit too much risk for this one trade. So I'm trying to get a better established risk and reward trade and looking at APHA.
If Cron squeezes back to the VWAP, I'm not necessarily opposed to taking it there. If Cron gets back to 87, I could give myself a risk of about 98, and so less than 11 cents there. And so I don't mind that with Cron. Reward of 12.60, and so 27 cents. So not bad for Cron. We'll see if we get that. I'll be right back, Mitch.
All right. All right, guys, seeing APHA break down a little bit there. Wanted to make an attempt back up there to the 78s. Essentially breaking down that downward trending line. Now we want to see it curl back. All right, guys, looking at alpha right here, guys.
NBEV back up to the VWAP. NBEV is back up there to 477. Cron is tanking. Never really pulled back to the VWAP like I would have preferred it to. Hold on, guys. All right, yeah. So Cron never really got back to the VWAP like I was looking for. I like the risk in that one, but it just never got there. AMD giving it back. What's up, T Dot? What's up, brother? Market's really giving it back too. There's a little bit of a rejection there for NBEV. CGC had a nice little rejection there too. ACB down to 560s. It hurts. It hurts, but that's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, it may take a little bit of a transitional period to get me used to 300 shares, but I took it. That was the goal. Win or lose, I'm happy I actually took 300 shares. I think considering how consistent I've been lately, it's time for sure. And now it's just about really not really being worried about losing as much, just about scaling up and, you know, following my plan. Hey, Isaac, appreciate it, brother. Shout out to Isaac for the $2 super chat, man. Appreciate it, bro. Hey, that'll do it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Curious how you feel about the overall market. So if you look at the SPY right now, the SPY is down again, right? The big level I'm watching with the SPY, if you look at the daily chart, is this 260 level. You know, if it breaks under 260, I'm definitely more short biased than the overall market. But if it bounces off of 260 again, or even right here, then, you know, we'll see. Yeah, 100% salty. Probably a good time for a day trader. Would I invest in the market right now? I don't know. I mean, it's down, you know. If I was a swing trader, I may think about buying some stuff here. But it all depends, man. There's a reason I'm not an investor and that I day trade.
All right, guys, watching APHA here.
I'm watching CGC. If it gets up to 3161, I don't mind taking a small sizing. And I do mean small because there's a bigger range on CGC today. And so if I did take that, it would have to be small. Because really, I'm watching some of these cannabis stocks. We'll see what we get. It's got to get up to 3160s for CGC. And if the second trade doesn't work out, I'm going to be done for the day. But I don't mind the risk here. Tight risk of 70s. Maybe, I don't know. 80 might be reasonable too. But like I said, I'm going to take it slow here if I get in CGC. Really slow. But really small. Like 75 shares maybe. It's got to get up there though. That's a big if. It's got to get up to 3160. I don't know. NBEV spiking up here.
All right, I'm short there on APHA. Short there on APHA, guys, off of that 580.
Here, let me pull you up if I can find it.
First profits are going to be 58.
All right, I got you up, but I might have to switch if CGC gets up there. So
No stress.
I don't know if it's gonna get up there anymore. Looked good. AMD maybe rejecting off the VWAP here. Not looking bad for you, man.
Yep, looking to take profits right underneath this 560 here, guys. I have 558 out.
It's 58.
200 there, guys. 200 there, paid already, guys. I'm paid in this trade.
Good work.
Now holding to that 573 level. Don't want it above that 573. It's my risk in this trade now.
I like it. Yeah, man, UXIN going crazy today. Pull up.
Next profit will be 544, guys.
I think that's reasonable.
All right, just got to be careful here, guys. Just watch it. Don't want to pass that 72. Bounce is going to come to the VWAP. We wanted to reject there at the VWAP. Hold.
Man, I kind of like this rejection here for AMD. Kind of outside my strategy. I think when I'm scaling up, I need to be pretty strict with myself on the strategies I take. And so,
yeah, definitely. That's the real key.
Right.
Taking the right strategy with the right swing.
Right, for sure.
Not about taking the wrong swing and then trying to just dive into it.
It looks pretty though. Like that's the reason. Like if you look at AMD and see that rejection possibly happening here, it looks pretty. But it's not. The VWAP rejection historically has been a little bit less reliable, and so because of that, especially on weeks like this week where I'm really focusing on scaling up, like I said, this is the first losing day. If today ends red, this is the first losing day in 2.5 weeks, and so it's time to scale up. If I have to take a few losses to get comfortable with scaling up, I think that's okay. It's just kind of one of those things where, if I ever want to really make money, I have to scale up. My consistency's been there, and at this point, it's just about getting comfortable with that bigger sizing. And so, I took a 10-cent loss today relative to 300 shares. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Exactly 10 cents is what I lost today. And so it's tiny loss overall relative to the share size I'm using. And so I just need to focus on getting some $60, $70 gains when I have winning days to combat that with good risk and reward, and I should be okay. But that's the goal here. I know I wish I could too, two-way. Trust me. Salty, man. It's Salty. If you're still listening, brother. Oh, there you are. Let me know how CME is. Because I enjoy using
guys,
trade.
Got to pay attention to APHA here, guys. Want to reject here at the VWAP. Rejection at the VWAP is what we want to see. You guys see this upward trending line that I have? I want to see that upward trending line hold.
See, I was correct with MRNS too. If you heard me earlier, I said I think MRNS is going to fill this gap down to the 5s. And beautiful gap fill there. All right, like I said, I'm watching CGC. Maybe a small position here of like 75 shares. I'm not really hating that. All right, I'm in CGC with 75 shares here. Not the best fill, but I'm going to let this one work. See if we can get a rejection down here. Ultimately, what I'm looking for. Small risk, 570. Reward of 31.20 at least, and so we'll see if we get that, getting some movement back down. But like I said, it's a tiny position. I've already taken a loss on the day. It's kind of how I do it. If I take a loss, I scale down on the day overall. So we'll see what we get.
You got to hold tight here. Want to see a rejection happen right here and come right back down to those 560s.
Yeah, I bet, Salty.
All right, guys, got to respect this 570 level. I'm not going to let it get past 570.
All right, we got a 60 break for CGC here. Thinkorswim's lagging a little bit. Great. Perfect day for this. Got to watch the level 2 here.
Yeah, got to be careful.
Like I said, 70, roughly around 70 is my risk, and I'm just going to stick to that. Still looking all right. I like that high there, so we can let it break that high, but anything over 72, I'm out. Thinkorswim's definitely lagging some though here, and so I got to be careful and watch it, but
You got a good rejection of 70s there. Don't want to see 70s just start getting slammed filled. Would want to see this tick down to that 60s. Next candle's going to come. Got to watch that candle. Don't want it to make a new high. Want that high to just hold right now. Got to be quick with this. There's 569 on the ass, 570 right behind it. If I see 570s get filled, I'm going to get on out. 570s, 571s. I'm out there.
good trade. Stuck to your plan. Nice work.
It's a little too tight, maybe, but might have gotten stopped out there by a cent. But that's just how it goes right now. The only thing I can do is just set myself up for the next fail.
Yeah.
Should have taken maybe about 250 shares out at the 66 mark so that we could have been at least a little bit more in the green. I'm still in the green, but essentially paid commissions on that trade. But I am seeing the wheat stocks kind of reverse out of that downward trend that they were in. MVEV kind of spiking up there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in CGC short. The market is pushing up right now. I don't know if you
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah,
giving me some gains
right
here.
back up. Oh, kind of like that reversal right there.
All right, I took half off there, just holding a little 40 shares. Just going to let this last little 40 shares work for CGC. At this point, I've taken enough profits to where I'm comfortable in it. Just going to try to let the rest work here. See how far this can go. Hopefully take back some of this gain on the day. Liking these drops and just letting this little 30 shares work. Level 2 on Thinkorswim's lagging a little bit here, but... Big downwick reversal here. We'll see if we get a follow through back down.
I want to see if this is going to reject 70 again here. If it rejects 72s, doesn't break out, I can go ahead and try to nail on it and hold to a tight risk of right above it, 75s.
All right, so CGC found some support there at 3140, but it's breaking back through. It had that big downwick, which means some buying pressure there, but it's getting slammed back down. And so ultimate goal here is probably 31s, maybe see if we could break under 31. Take back some of this loss on the day, but at this point I'm comfortable. I've taken profits, and so I can just kind of hang out. Let this really work for me if it wants to break down here. If not, get out for a small green trade.
All right, reshort there, guys. Reshort there. Hammering down here, holding off that 72 level. Looking for those 60s to break and then a move into the 50s.
We're trying to get a breakdown under 20s here. We're breaking down under 25s. That 2120 is going to be the big support here. And so just going to let this last little 40 shares work. Like I said, I scaled down in this trade because CGC has a substantially larger range than ACB, the stock I traded earlier. And so I can just kind of hold it here and just let it work. Really, if it breaks over 3150, I can get out. So ultimate goal is a breakdown under 31, but that's a big if. I don't know if it's actually going to do that. It's the next level to watch is this 3120 support it had previously for CGC. It's trying though. There's 19s. Let's see if we can hold under that 3120 level. Beautiful fade though. May bounce here though. Give it that time. Gonna let these last little shares work. Try 3120s again. Nice, Andrew. Good work, brother. Nice job, man. All right, there's 15s, 10s. Let's see if we get a break under 31. That's the goal. It's down to 31.10. Not bad for this little 40 shares I had left.
All right, looking for a crack here on APHA to sell some.
You're back in it?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Good work, brother.
One of the key things is as long as the setup is still there and I'm watching it, watching the time and sales, and it fails again at a key important place, I don't find there a problem for me to get back into a stock as long as I'm understanding the risk to reward.
Right. I feel you. If your setup's there, brother, your setup's there.
Exactly.
Maybe getting a little greedy with these last 40 shares. I don't know. Squeezing up to 30s.
Just hold to your levels, man. That's all you do.
Right, for sure. I mean, I've already taken profits in it, and so it's just trying to let these last little bit work. We'll see, though. I mean, like I said, 31.50, I'll get out. And that's okay. Like, I'll take 31.50s. Just looking to see if it gets squeezed back down here. Tries to break under that 31.20 level. Trying to give it that time. But overall, I'm pretty comfortable in it. I mean, I've taken some profits, so I can just kind of let these last little shares work. See what they get. Market's starting to come back down. All right, we're getting up to the 38s. Squeezing up here. Ideally looking for a reversal here, but if not, I can get out for break even if it breaks 31.50. Thinker 2 on level the time and or the level 2 on Thinkorswim is definitely lagging some here.
All right, got to watch here on APHA. Got to respect that 72 level. 6-7 cent risk here. $0.27 potential gain.
Gonna let it test this $0.50 and then jump out if it squeezes back down. Let it test the VWAP one more time.
All right, got to be careful with it, guys. Want to see a reject right here at this 70 level.
Maybe held on to this one a little bit too long. I'm not going to let it turn into a losing trade, though, so if it starts to get squeezed up here, I'll get out for break even on this one. Ultimately, I want to see it reject here and come back down, but that's a big if. Like I said, not going to let it turn into a losing trade, though. I should be watching the TAF's time and sales because Thinkorswim time and sales is lagging some.
All right, it's getting hit hard here right now in the level 2s on 67. I need to see a big share size come through and knock this down here. There we go. It's looking better. Let's get this share size to come in and knock this down here. There you go. Weight is on at 65 right now.
Back under the 40s. Squeezing up again. Don't want to get caught here. Yeah, it sucks. I gotta watch the time and sales or the level 2 on TAFs because Thinkorswim's is lagging. Squeeze up. Not gonna let it test 50s again.
Yeah, that 70 levels is now really dangerous, guys. Really dangerous. It's not only this stock, it's a lot of stocks here, these levels, so got to really stay tight to it.
Okay. Yeah, the time and sales is acting weird again. The bid and the ask are the same. All right, I'm out. I don't want to toy with this here. It's kind of acting strange where it's testing the bid's getting bigger than the ask on both of these. It's hard to keep track. So small gain on CGC, I'll take it. Gave myself the chance for success. Tried to give it, maybe got a little greedy with these last 40 shares, but I'll take it.
All right, got to be careful here, guys. Don't want to see big size and go through at 70 right here. Got to be careful. Want this to turn right back around to the 60s.
Oh, you're in.
Right. There's 70s. Got to be careful here. 71s. I'm out. Got to respect that, guys.
Yeah, kind of a weird day overall, honestly, in the market. I'll take it, though. I mean, I stuck to my
They keep
levels.
faking out on the long side. That's what they're doing. The real question is it going to get enough momentum to either break out or break down here? And that's what I'm seeing over and over. I've had chances to make pretty much like $100, $200 each time here, just getting rejected.
It happens, brother. CGC, I just didn't like this consolidation. The market is kind of rebounding some here as well. I don't know how well that would have worked out anyway, but
MBEV moved with great volume.
Sid, see, it all depends, man. So you're looking at UXIN. It all depends on the strategy you're trying to use. So, like, the best play for UXIN this morning was this VWAP bounce for me, at least. If you get in here at 488, you could set a risk of 475, giving you a 13-cent risk. Reward level can be all the way up here at this previous high of the day. And so your reward level from 488 to 520 or so would be 32 cents. Your reward would be, or your risk would only be 12 cents. And so that's kind of how I do it. But it's all relative on the strategy, man. Hey, nice work, Shane. Appreciate the $2 donation, brother. Thanks, man. Good work.
The 72 is going to be very important for APHA. There he goes. He got bought up right there, guys.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, Shane. I mean, like I said, like this week I'm trying to scale up in sizing as well, but I started small and like I said, this is the first losing day in 2.5 weeks. And so I knew a losing day was going to happen eventually. It kind of sucks that it happened on the one day where I took the leap up to 300 shares. But that's how it goes, and I just kind of have to stick with my 300 share sizing, even if I take some initial swings that I'm not used to. I just need to stick to 300 shares, build that consistency there, move up to 400, and then do it that route, I think. Cron here, I mean, if Cron gets up to 1270, I don't hate it for a fade of using a risk of 1282 maybe on Cron. Not my favorite, but I don't think it's terrible either. Is it enough to actually make me trade 3 times in a day? I doubt it. Oh, sorry, I gotta fix my screen.
In the end, I really got to figure out a way to either start limiting into an order or something because, essentially I could have got 569, 570s as my price point. And if I would have done 570s at my price point, I would have had no problem risking to that 580. And essentially could have been in this trade since that first trade and still holding. Now, one of the keys is that with the market order, you're definitely going to essentially kind of lose out on a cent or two. And that's really where I'm not holding towards a big enough risk here. Just got hit hard. Going to really watch this last little move here.
AMD just been a little crazy this morning. Yeah, maybe got a little bit greedy with those last 40 shares on CGC, but I wanted to let it test my reward target, which was around 31, and so it happens.
So
small gain.
Where'd you get at?
So what happened was I took a small size on CGC with a risk of 72. I got in at about 56, 57 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got up?
I sold first one at 31.35, I think. And then I held on to the last little remaining shares. It ended up squeezing up and ended up getting out the rest at like 31.50 for like a small gain. It was a small share size. It was a small trade. I scaled down after a losing trade. And so, I mean, it was a green trade. Probably break even after commissions, which is fine,
Yeah, I probably would have gone for that 31.18s or 31.16s first, and then look for a breakdown. But the same thing would have happened essentially, just a little bit further on that.
That first few shares before I sold.
You see how it's kind of setting up again? Same thing's happening also with APHA. Same thing's happening with Cron. is this kind of setting up for either a breakdown or a breakout?
Yeah, I mean, with Kron, I don't hate it here. It's just about whether I want to take another position. If it gets up to 1270, I don't hate it with a risk, pretty obvious risk level of like 1280, 1281 for like 11 cents, reward target of 1240. So good risk reward if Kron gets up to the VWAP. But today hasn't been great. I mean, I've had one winning trade, one losing trade, but I'm probably done for the day. We'll see. I mean,
Trying to short here, but not getting filled on the limit on APHA. Might have missed it. This is why I get a little frustrated on the market and limit order thing. I hit the limit. I somehow switched the limit, got blocked, and yep, now missing the trade. That's a little frustrating there.
it happens, man. Kron doesn't look like it's going to get back up there either. Yeah, I mean, APHA is kind of in a little channel here. Kind of like a CGC.
I have an order out for 68s. Need a bounce to 68 to get filled here.
NBEV's actually been bullish today. Maybe a little bit about bounce here. I mean, I don't mind the risk of NBEV for that bounce play, but I don't know if I'm going to take it or not. Probably not.
Hoping for a small little bounce here. Yep. It's not going to bounce for me, and my market and limit order is killing me today, man. That would have been a nice gain right there. 56, 66 should have been the entry. Uh, that one's really just frustrating. That limit order. This
Color Pilot said, any recommendations on a good beginning broker with no PDT rule with a small account of 100, what is that, euros? I mean, that's kind of a tough thing to find, man. U stock trade, maybe. I don't know if you can even trade it if you're outside the U.S., but I don't even know if there is one that you're going to be able to get by with $100. If anybody else knows one, U stock trade, it might be only for U.S. customers. Robinhood is probably where I would go if I only had $100, but you're gonna have to follow the PDT rule. Yeah, but I mean, he said no PDT, Isaac, so that's what I'm saying. No PDT, that's gonna be a tough thing to find, man. Yeah, starting with 100 is going to be tough, man. You know, uh, like I said, if I were you, I'd probably go with like Webull or Robinhood or something like that. But you're gonna have to follow the PDT rule, man. You know, $100 is it's just not much in the trading world, brother. I'm not against it. I think learning to trade with $100 is fine, but you're gonna have to follow the PDT rule most likely, almost certainly only going to be able to go long, and so you know it's gonna be tough, man. Does Ustock Trade have crazy platform fees? No, man. Ustock Trade, it's like $1 per trade, and then it's $1 per month for platform. Their platform's super minimalist, though. It's not the most advanced platform for sure, but it's not bad. I mean, I traded on Ustock for a while. Nice, Isaac. Good work, brother. Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably true, Shane. I'm not 100% sure that, but you're still gonna have the T2 rule, so you're gonna have to wait 2 days after each trade for your funds to settle back into your account. And so, you know. All right, guys. Again, if you're interested in signing up to TradeNet, the way TradeNet works is like you pay for a package. It's not a deposit. You actually pay for a package, and like with your certain package, they give you a certain amount of buying power. With the intro package, it's 500, and you get 14,000 in buying power, but you have a $700 max loss. And if anything, to me at least, it's not a bad deal because you're paying 500 to get $700 in losses to lose 700. So you're actually getting an extra $200 to lose. Biggest flaw with TradeNet is that some stocks are not tradable. Certain stocks, specifically penny stocks, are not tradable. That's my biggest pet peeve about TradeNet. But overall, anything that's tradable, I can short, and so I like using them. If anybody's interested in signing up, like I said, you can go through my link. It gets you 10% off, and so instead of 500 for the intro package, you get it for 450, and I make a commission from it. It's one of the ways we keep the stream free. And so if you want to help support the channel, if you're interested in signing up to TradeNet, you can go through my link. I just posted that in the chat. Yeah, you can go long and short on TradeNet, Isaac. Later, 2A. Have a good day, brother. Yeah, you can go long and short in TradeNet, Isaac. The fees there's $15 a month in platform fees, but it's actually a pretty good platform, and so it's pretty cheap relative to these other brokers. So it's $15 a month in platform fees. Commissions equal out to about 0.0075 cents per share. And so if I'm using 200 or 300 shares or less, my commission per an entire round trip is like $4. And so commissions are pretty cheap if you're using smaller sizing as well. Yeah, for sure, color. What's the catch with Ustock trade? I mean, it's a super minimalist platform. If you're trading momentum, the fills aren't great, and there's no shorting and there's no leverage. So you don't get any buying power. You can't short. If you're trading momentum, the spreads are going to hurt, and the fills aren't great with momentum. But like I said, I mean, it's $1 commission. Fast withdrawals, fast deposits. I've withdrawn and deposited money really quick both ways. But again, the reason I don't trade on Ustock Trade is mostly because I can't short. If I could short on Ustock Trade, I'd probably trade there, but I can't short there. I'm mostly a short bias trader, and so that's why I don't use them. All right, Isaac, have a good day, brother. Yeah, no stress. Class action lawsuit on. I appreciate the sub, by the way, ZB. Appreciate it, man. Also appreciate the sub, Jonathan, and D. I'm just gonna say D. I can't read that really, but appreciate the $2 dono, Shane and Isaac today. Appreciate it, guys. Well, what's the symbol for Afria? Is it APHA, right? That's Afria, right? APHA.
Killing myself here. I got myself in the only position I could do is chase APHA, and it's just really gonna hurt now because very easily I could have been making my money back into this. I go and I change it to limit, and when I went to actually enter the stock again at 66, got rejected, no fills, and now I'm just watching the pattern play out. And this is why I take the trade again. If I would have taken the trade, I would have been in the green today and in the profits. Instead, I'm just going to watch a trade do exactly what I wanted it to do.
It happens, man. Don't stress it. Just one day, brother.
Yeah, it's it's starting to get to the point where, at least from my view, I got to figure out a way to either limit or something because the market order is just not doing it. You got to figure it out here.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching CGC. I mean, I ended up getting out of this one for a small gain, but it's kind of just choppy. Maybe a little bit of a wedge going on here for CGC. Pretty obvious levels here, at least. Maybe a symmetrical wedge here. Maybe a little symmetrical triangle here for CGC. We'll see. See if we get a breakdown. APHA? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the one Mitch has been watching this morning, man. Class action lawsuit. Somebody saying a class action lawsuit. Danny said it was because of short seller allegations. It's been ongoing since last week. Yeah, news popped up. Could be recycled. MRNS. Yeah, I've been watching MRNS. That's one of those stocks where I said I'm pretty confident MRNS would fill this gap. You know, it opened up and it looked weak. And right around 9:40 market time, I remember saying that I think that it's going to fill this gap and come back down to the 510s. It didn't really follow through with any pattern that I follow except for a gap fill, and so no entry for it for me. But, you know, a lot of the time, this is one of those patterns that I see kind of cycle over and over and over again. And the pattern goes, a stock gaps up in a pretty overextended way. Before the bell even rings in the morning, it gives most of those gains back, and then it at least typically fills the rest of the gap during the day, like MRNS did here. I also don't hate Cron if it gets up to 1270 for the VWAP fade with the risk of 1280. I think that's a tight risk. Don't hate it. Let's look at the overall market. Overall market actually faded off the VWAP nicely. I have no idea, Ruckus. All I know is like there's the cannabis stocks like CRON, CGC, ACB, and then there's the cannabis infused drink companies like NBEV. Um, and so those are the only cannabis stocks I really follow. Spies tanking. I was looking at Cron, see if Cron got up to 1269, 1270 with a risk of 1280. I think that's a decent tight risk based off of pre-market and intraday levels. Risk would be about 10, 12 cents. Reward would be down to 1240 at least. So 20, 25 cents reward. Not bad. I don't know if it's going to give it to me though. It doesn't look like it. honestly, we had a nice little fade for the overall market here. You know, you get in the overall market, give yourself a risk of 26.30. I mean, it's a nice little fade on the SPY. Maybe look to trade some fades on the SPY. Domo giving some gains back.
A little part of me wants this APHA so bad. It's gotten me to the point where I'm about to take it, and I got to hold to it because I missed my entry. You could risk off of here off of 660, 565s, kind of tackle this move down to the 40s. But my risk and reward is getting smaller and smaller, and thus keeping me out of the trade. Yeah, this is going to be one of those charts that just makes me want to kick myself afterwards.
Yeah, sorry, Blade. No spam or self-promoting, brother, unless you reach out to me and ask me first, man. I'm not opposed to doing it. You just gotta ask me first. Yeah, like I said, there goes Kron.
There goes Kron. There goes CGC.
Yeah.
There goes APHA. I'm telling you, I could have made my money back and more just by getting into that last trade.
Well, if you look at the market, the SPY is actually fading now, and it's testing that 260 level I mentioned earlier in the day.
Yeah, definitely should have gone and hit that there. Watching maybe NIO. NIO still kind of interesting. Bouncing back to the VWAP here. What do you think about that one?
Which one?
NIO.
I'm looking at the overall market tank right now. NIO volume's too low for me to really like it. I think it's definitely bearish, especially if it can hold under 7. So I don't really mind that VWAP projection. I think it makes sense because it had some support there during the previous day. I think it has a tight risk level as well of what is this?
5 cents.
Yeah, of 7.05. So 5 cents at 7. A reward level of 6.90 or so for the low of the day move. I think it's bearish, but like I said, volume's a little low, a little choppy. All right, Ivan, have a good day, brother. We'll see you tomorrow, man. NBEV rejecting off the VWAP here. Just kind of a weird day, though. I mean, one green trade, one losing trade. First losing day in a few weeks, and so losing days are going to happen. It's just about getting comfortable with that 300 shares. You know, it's time to scale up. Vincent, I've been trading for about 2 years. Yeah, you talking to Blade or me, Vincent? Yeah, you can see this triangle I drew on CGC here. Maybe a little wedge, really, but you can see the breakdown. Yeah, no stress, Vincent. About 2 years, off and on. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've showed my graph already, but like the reason I'm trying to scale up is because this is my graph in the last 3 weeks, you know, or 2.5 weeks. Haven't had a losing day. If you want to see my November graph, this is my November graph, and so definitely been a good month it's just time to scale up a little bit. I've been using 100 shares, and so last week I
And
went with 200.
there goes APHA. Definitely had the right idea. Would have been taking profits right now. Just one of those that you just gotta let it go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Zimmy, it's like I said, man. Like, I'm really happy with my stats here. That's really why I'm scaling up. Like, it's been a good few months. You know, you can see my accuracy rate aside from today in the last few weeks is 87%. After today, I had one winning trade, one losing trade. It's probably around 80%. But high accuracy rate. Been doing really well. It's just time to take some bigger swings here, you know.
All right, watching Tiva here, guys.
But yeah, I took my swing today with 300 shares. I'm just this has been the process, right? I've been trading for a while. Like the way it usually goes is like I'll trade, show consistent profits for a few months, have the guts to scale up. I scale up, I take one big loss, I scurry back down to small sizing. You know, show consistent profits, do well, try to scale up, take some swings, take a bigger loss, scurry back down to small sizing. And that's kind of the process of it. Hey, Peter. Hey, brother. I took 300 shares today, man. And so I took 300 shares, man. I'm going to be doing 300 all week this week, Peter. No matter what. Like, no matter what, you know.
Yeah, NIO not looking bad there. Great possibility there. Just didn't take it.
Oh, for sure, man. And it's one of those things where it's like I'm comfortable. I'm confident enough in my trading to not be super worried about the sizing anymore. It's just I'm so used to using like 200 shares that when I scale up to 300 it gets a little emotional for me. It's kind of one of those things where you just have to condition yourself. You know, if you do it over and over again, your brain will be conditioned to do it. And so that's the process of scaling up. It's just getting my brain used to taking that bigger swing so it doesn't get as emotional as I would. That's right, Peter. Hey, brother, I'm doing it, man. Like, listen, this is kind of how it goes, though. Like, the last 2.5 weeks, I haven't had a losing day. Today's the first losing day I've had in 2.5 weeks. It's all been streamed live, and so it's all been documented and streamed live the last 2.5 weeks. And so, yeah, man, my confidence is there. It's just about taking that swing, you know. I mean, Robert, that's all subjective, man. So it's like it all depends on the range of the stocks you're trading, right? Like how expensive the stocks are and what the range is. You know, like if you're trying to trade cheap stocks under $10 that have a small range and you're legitimately trying to build a $2,000 account, I would probably go with anywhere from 3 to 500 with tight risk. What do you?
MRNS, that could have been a fade there too. It was just a little bit of different chart pattern.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was what I mentioned earlier. That's just a typical gap fill, man. Like I see these gap fills all the time. Like I said, it's one of those things where you see a stock gap up in a really big overextended way, like MRNS, and then it gives up almost the whole gap before the open. Most of the time, it's at least going to finish filling that gap. Right. I mean, that would essentially be doing the same thing, Blade. Because like if I trade more expensive stocks but with the same share size, that could work as well. But it's kind of taken me out. Like my sweet spot for stocks is like in between like $10 to $30 is usually where I trade. $10 to $30. You know, that's usually my sweet spot. It's what I do the best with. Um, Honestly, lately, like you can look at my stats here. I showed my back testing results from AMD last week, but if you look at the stocks that I've traded, look, AMD has been the one where I've been making the most money. AMD, I only had one other green trade, and that's what the back testing results showed, was that AMD was super reliable with fades and bounces. All right, guys. So now it's about if I want to take Cron, and if I do, where are my levels? If I take Cron here at 1267, I could set a comfortable risk at 1280. That would give me about a 13-cent risk. I could essentially set a reward target from 1267 down to 1230, giving me a, 35-cent reward. And so 12-cent risk, 35-cent reward. The only problem I have with this is that it actually does have some support above that low of the day right here at 1260. And so if I use that level, it's bad risk and reward. And so this is the subjective part, to where, do I think it's going to come back and give me more gains? I don't know, But yeah, man, AMD has been...
MBEV at the VWAP here, guys. Looking for potentially the weed stocks. Look like they've been holding for too long at that level. I don't feel like they're going to reject from here. I feel like they're going to turn around. Maybe it's me starting to create a belief here, but I'm just watching. CGC looking like it's holding there, still on the bear side. MBEV looks like it's turning around. Definitely interested in that. Buyers are stepping up there.
Stanley said, I experienced a lot of latency issues and slow execution and even bugs. On Thinkorswim, why don't you use SureTrader or something else? So I actually don't use Thinkorswim for execution, Stanley. I use TradeNet, which is on the left side of my screen here. But I use Thinkorswim specifically for charts. I use Thinkorswim for charts and level 2. And so I don't actually use Thinkorswim to execute my trades, just because I'm a short bias trader, and so I use TEFs. And so, yeah, I mean, usually you'll see the right side of the screen. This is just for charting. The left side of the screen is for my actual broker. And you can see I got a lot more charts. I have 3 monitors, and so, look, if I pull Thinkorswim to the side, I have about 12 charts up right now that I'm watching. So, yeah, I have 3 monitors. That's kind of how I'm juggling all of it here. But yeah, at this point, I'm watching NBEV. The risk and reward is good. If I do take it, it's going to be smaller share size because I've already taken a loss today and I'm down on the day. And so I kind of got to scale down a little bit with that one.
You looking at MBEV on the short side?
No, I'm looking at Cron on the short side if it gets up to 1267. It's a big if. Risk can be 1280, so 13 cents. Reward can be 1235 or so for a better than 2-to-1 risk and reward. Hey, appreciate it, Blade. Yeah, man, it's one of those things. We teach classes, and so Noor said, how can someone start day trading and where can someone learn to maneuver the different screens? We teach classes for beginner traders. We're not experts or gurus. That's what we always say. We're not experts or gurus or anything like that. We just teach people the basis of trading, the fundamentals of trading. And a lot of it is based around emotions and as well as risk and reward. And so if you're interested in that, Noor, let me know. I can send you a sample class, for free if you want to check that out, man. But it's a process for sure. It just depends on where you're at. Pun says, hey guys, what's up? I had a question with your course. Can I use it to trade in green trending? Does it come with different methods or is it all VWAP? We teach other strategies aside from the VWAP. I tend to like using the VWAP more than most people. Mitch uses moving averages and stuff like that. But the thing about our course, Pun, is that it's not really about strategy. We have strategy classes, don't get me wrong, where we teach a few different strategies. But most of the courses actually revolve around building a plan around each trade, calculating risk and reward, identifying trends, and stuff like that. And so it doesn't really revolve around teaching the $1 million strategy because honestly, you can learn most day trading strategies for free online, and so our classes really revolve around the concept of building a plan around each trade, calculating risk and reward, understanding pre-market and support and resistance, understanding levels to follow, stuff like that. Like, that's what we really do. Yeah, it's at Beginner Trades, Vincent.
Looking at Tiva here, and this reject after it went above the VWAP here. Like to see it curl back up above the VWAP here, try 850s, then fail.
Yeah, I mean, and we have classes for like back testing, back testing results, how we back test, what back test can give you and stuff like that. So it's about a bunch of different things, not just strategy. We have some strategy classes. The strategies we really use in class, like the strategies we teach triangle pennants, we teach the VWAP fade, VWAP bounce, washout long, 1 minute pullback, flags, triangles, stuff like that, But like I said, the strategy classes are kind of a select few. Most of it revolves around like risk and reward and understanding levels, support and resistance, volume, stuff like that. Nice, Vincent. Appreciate it, man.
All right, guys, watching Tiva here, guys. Tiva looking really interesting here.
For the fade? You watching Tiva for the fade, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the very solid risk level, very obvious, self-evident risk level right around 1860s.
Yep.
Hey, man, I mean, it's all right, Robert. Like, you just gotta... The goal, Robert, the goal all new traders should do, and we had a class on it last week, but the goal is to find consistency, right? There's a few things you can do to like bring consistency to your trading, even if it's not like profitable trading. It's just about finding that consistency. A lot of it revolves around risk and reward, analyzing range, avoiding bigger drawdowns in your account, sticking to a consistent share size and risk. And if you do all those things, you'll be more consistent, even if you're not necessarily profitable. The profitability has to do with giving yourself good risk and reward levels, as well as like a profitable strategy, like back testing a profitable strategy. Yeah, Blade. I mean, I've been reached out to by some prop firms. I had what is it? I can't think of the name of it. Reached out to me. I never ended up answering it. I just don't know. I don't know if I don't know how it's gonna work with the prop firm. I'm very hesitant to get my Series 7 license because I'm not going to be able to actually do as much stuff with the Series 7 license. And so there's a lot more liability issues when you have a Series 7 license, to be honest. And so, I've thought about it. Probably not something I'm doing, anytime soon. No. So TradeNet is actually Colmex. Like if I pull up Mitch's screen, Mitch is using the TradeNet platform. I'm using Thinkorswim here, and then just TradeNet to execute my trades on the left. If I pull up Mitch's screen, like this is Tef's platform right here. Like that's Tef's right there, and so it's not bad. It's actually very similar to DOS. Honestly, I've used both DOS and the Tef's platform. It's very similar.
Got to be careful here. Want to watch the buyers and sellers to step up here in the 50s. Looked like they just got knocked down.
if I ever got to that level, I wouldn't be opposed to that blade. But it all just depends, man. You know.
All right. Short there. Short there on Tiva. All right,
What's your
guys.
reward target?
Yep. First profit is going to be 35s.
Risk?
And risk is 50.
Okay. Not bad. It's a smaller range, but I like those levels.
Yep. Final profit down here at 820s. All right, want to see it get hit hard right here? Big volume showing up there. There you go. That looks better now. Like my wrist measure.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you mean the VWAP rejection blade? Yeah, man. I mean, the reason I can spot that on Cron is because, like, think about it like this, right? Like, the VWAP is actually a trend indicator. So it tells you, to a certain extent, what the trend of the stock is during intraday moves, not during macro moves, but more intraday moves, right? And so when a stock pushes up like Cron and then completely washes out underneath the VWAP and then rejects off of it, it's essentially confirming that downward intraday trend, if that makes sense, at least the way I see it. And so once it, you see it break out at about 835 and then just crash underneath the VWAP and then tap that VWAP and get rejected back down. That's kind of a solid confirmation in the downward trend, at least the way I look at it. And everybody trades differently, but that's kind of how I do it. Beautiful move there for you.
Right, guys, just filled 300 shares there at 35.
Nice. You see, it Mitch's
left.
He's
looking.
Sorry, go ahead.
1822s.
Right, and you can see, like, when I asked Mitch what his reward target was, he said 1835. Where did he take his profit? 1835. And so it's about following your reward plan. Where you're going to take profits. Beautiful breakdown though for you, man. Nice work.
One of the key things is this stock got hit with some bad news. It's a down gapping stock, but it got hit with bad news.
All right, Shane, have a good day, brother. Where's your next target?
22s.
You going to take 100 off or the whole 200?
100 off.
Okay.
Looking to make this move come down. It's showing strength on the down move. When I see that much strength on that down move and my potential now is break even at VWAP, I need to let this stock try to get down there. One of the key things is maximizing your potential gain here. And that was a big red bar right there. Some decent volume. I'm going to go ahead and try to let this stock kind of bounce here. Might bounce to the 840s, but then I'm going to look for it to come down immediately after that. Cancel my order so I don't put pressure on the bid side. Once it starts breaking the 30s, then I put the order out. that NIO was not a bad idea there.
For the
Oh, look at
rejection.
that big break there for APHA and CRON.
Yeah, a lot of stocks are fading right now. Kron's coming
Yeah,
back down.
man. I'm
ACB.
telling you, I had that APHA. I would have still been in it. Essentially, I would still be stuck in it. And I would have had a 66 entry. Would have got some out there at the 55s. And then I would have looked to get down to the 41s and 30s. Right, guys, I'm watching this stock also, Chiva, on a 5 minute. 5 minute puts it nice here, kind of draws it the whole pattern out for us. Gotta be careful here. I think it's gonna come up to 50s. At least that's what the level, at least that's what the 5 minute pattern would give me. Kind of a little test up here.
What do you mean by trade off the open, Vincent? I think the cannabis stocks descent blade lately has been mostly due to the reason they were up so much was because hype behind Canada's legalization. And since Canada's legalization has been speculated to be a little bit more restrictive than previously thought, I think that the cannabis stocks have been giving some of that back because it's kind of the hype died down behind it all. That's why I think the cannabis stocks have been dropping lately. Is because we had the legalization early last month, and the hype's just kind of slowly dying down a little bit. There's some sympathy plays, like Corona bought like a large stake in CGC, Canopy Growth, which is one of the alpha cannabis stocks, and so that kind of made them move a little bit. But overall, I think that's probably why the cannabis stocks have been fading some.
Some good volume came in there. Down in the 40s.
For which account, pun? You mean for Thinkorswim? Yeah, man. I mean, uh, Thinkorswim. I deposited $20 into Thinkorswim 2 years ago, and I'm still getting real time live quotes. That's what I trade with every day. You know. And I also love Thinkorswim. It's a little laggy sometimes. Like you can see today, the level 2 was a little laggy, but overall, it's my favorite charting software.
All right, gonna want this next 5 minute candle to open up below this close of this candle. So we got a little bit to go, but we're almost there to that 5 minute opening up that next candle. We can open it below the trend line on the 5 minute. We'll be looking really good to get to those 1822s. Right now, I gotta kind of have to hold tight. Let this trade work right here. 10,000 shares going through there at 36.
Right, 100%, Jason. I mean, that's what I was saying, man. Like I usually like to wait for at least 5 minutes to pass after the market opens, just so I can get some type of indication on where the stock is heading, what's the trend, what the direction the stock is ultimately going to be moving. Let my setups kind of fulfill a little bit before I jumping in. I think if you jump in right at the open, I think you never really know what's going to happen. At least for me, you can follow pre-market levels, and I understand that. But just for my style of trading, it's just I don't find an edge in trading the first 5 minutes. It just never typically works well for me. All right, Kron here. Yeah, AMD did have that second fade. I'm looking at Kron here, guys. All right,
I don't know, I
so
think it's a little late in the day, but it's up to you. It's after it's rejected a lot of times there. It's getting closer and closer, I think.
yeah, I mean, 1265 risk level of 1280, 15-cent risk reward level from 1265 down to 1235. So it's still 2 to 1. That's the only reason I'm thinking about it.
Let's see if these 33s can crack here.
Look at Ford. Which one? Yeah, Ford had a nice fade. You mean F? There's two Fords.
All right, pay myself a little bit here so that I can kind of adjust my entry here. I'm gonna be looking to set up near that 50. I don't mind adding here on VWAP, looking for this to break down. I think the stock is definitely building towards that bearish breakdown. Just the 5 minute gives it a little more room for bounce.
All right, I'm going to consider 75 shares of Kron right here. I'm trying to limit myself. All right, I'm in with 75 shares of Kron. We'll see if we get that move. Tight risk. We'll try to let it work. See if we can get a fade off of that area. Yeah, Peter, listen, the way I do it, man, like I went with 300 shares first this morning, but on moves a little bit later on in the day that I'm not as comfortable with, I have to scale down, man. Another rule of mine is that if I have a losing day, I have to use smaller sizing. So, like, I have to scale down a little bit. I do that because a lot of traders will, if they take a losing trade, they'll do double the size to try to win back their losses. And I'm not trying to win back my losses. I'm just trying to. I see good risk and reward, and I'm trying to take advantage of that. But yeah, man, I just got to take it slow. I've already, I've taken the move with 300 shares, and so now I'm just trying to see if I can take advantage of this risk reward and Kron. But, I do have to scale down if I have a few losing trades, and so that's ultimately the goal. Is to take it slow, not rush it, not force anything with bigger sizing than I'm comfortable with at this point. But yeah, I'm going to be using 300 shares just if I have a losing day and I'm not as confident in the trade, I have to adjust the share size accordingly. All right, we got 67s.
All right, it's looking good. Got a quick rejection, no bounce. Not going to be able to fill my size back in here, but I will let this go down to the daily low.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad, brother. It's my first red day in a few months or in a few weeks decks, but I went up to 300 shares today, which was the goal. Trying to get up to 300 shares, get comfortable with it, man. So it's kind of one of those days where trying to scale up a little bit. At this point, it's already been a losing day thus far, so I'm kind of scaling back down until tomorrow. Which is when I'll consider scaling, when I'll scale up again. But at this point, I mean, it's my first losing day in 2.5 weeks, and so losing days are going to happen eventually. And I guess that was today for me, which is okay.
Don't want this to get back above 40s here. Want this to crack down through the 30s here. If it does get above 40s, I'll take my 100 shares out, pay my commission, look for a re-entry. If it breaks 30 here, we're going to go down to the 20s, and I'll be looking to take some profit at 22.
If you look nice little breakdown.
If you look at the 5-minute, it looks that's really what I'm using on this chart. I'm using the 5-minute and then 1 minute for kind of a closer approach. All right, just need a big seller to step in here on the bid side. Big order going through on the bid side. Looking for that red order, that big red order to confirm, knock it down through the 30s.
Let's see if we get that breakdown for you. Mostly, I don't trade crypto at all. AX. I've just never, haven't really had the best. I've never. I don't know enough about crypto to trade it, to be honest.
There goes CGC. I don't know. Maybe Kron looking better. The wheat stocks went down at least.
I'm in it with small share size.
Yeah, it's not a bad. It's not. I mean, essentially, it's kind of like I was taking on my other trade. Every time the risk to reward was there.
Right. That's why I got in it.
Exactly. If the risk is reward there and you're watching it, it's just part of our rules. We have to, it's part of me and John's kind of instincts that we can't reject it. If we see the strategy, we see the risk to reward, we see the pattern, we see high volume, essentially we should take the trade.
Right. And that's what I'm doing. I mean, and it's not bad trade so far. I mean, I'm up. Even if I'll let it test 1250s, but regardless, I mean, it was solid risk reward. It was tight, and now I can just let it test these lows here. Even if it's a tiny share size. I mean,
that APHA trade would have made me over $100 today.
Yeah, it happens, brother. That thing's crashing down.
It just really sucks that when I went to hit it again at 66, I had it on limit order and screwed myself in getting into this trade. Would have been able to get into that trade, take some profit in the 50s, look for that 41 that we just got, and then look for that continuation. Would have been a great kind of 25 cent, 30 cent winner there.
It's like conditioning yourself for anything, Sid. The only way to condition yourself is just to do it over and over and over and over again. That's the only way to do it, and you got to get comfortable with it. Same thing with me scaling up and sizing. I just try to do it over and over and over and over again, and eventually I'll be comfortable with it. And so it's just like conditioning your brain. It's like Pavlov and the dog. It's just conditioning your brain to do something over and over and over again. Eventually you'll be comfortable doing it, but you gotta condition your brain to be okay with it.
It's big sizing at 830s getting filled.
I'm gonna take half off here, or a partial, hold the rest, let this breakdown really happen.
All right, guys, don't want to see this above 1835s. I'm trying to let it come down. There was some huge sizing that stepped in there at 1830. I don't want it to be a bag holder and hold this bag. So what I'm doing is letting the trade work. If it breaks down here, I'll take it.
Beautiful breakdown in Kron. And like I said, man, it was just positive risk reward, guys. Like, that's what I saw. And it followed through really nicely here. Just going to let the rest work. See if we can break down under 1240s. Maybe get a low of the day test. This is the ultimate goal here with this one now.
Look at APHA. It's already down to 529s. That was the trade right there. It's definitely going to be one that I'm going to review and just be like, man, you lost money on an over $100 winning trade there.
Yeah.
It's definitely a little bit of annoying. especially when it's coming from not my execution, but from platform troubles. So got to figure out how to get around that platform trouble.
Gotta how it goes sometimes, man.
Yep.
All right, at this point, I want to see Kron stay under 1250. If it bounces over 1250, I'll probably just get out, take my green. It's got some support down here. Let's see if we can actually break it some.
All right, guys. Tiva, I don't want to pass this 1835. It's getting this little reversal momentum here. Wanted to get hit just like it just got hit. Just got hit hard there. The 31s right back down to the 28s.
Up here, I'll give these to you. I'm missing my race. I'm missing these. These don't lay back. I don't know where the control. It's in there somewhere. But yeah, I mean, in digital, those are kind of like they're obsolete.
Get a little squeeze up here for Kron. Like I said, 1250 is the area I'm really watching. I want to see it hold under that $0.50 and try to break down here. Big if, but I've taken profits enough to where I'm all right in this trade. Just want to see it break down here. Let's see if that's
all right. There's some big shorters stepping in there in the 31s.
Mitch is in Teva, T-E-V-A.
T-E-V-A. It's literally at the break it or make it moment. It's either going to break down here and get to the 20s, or I'm going to get on out of it in the 30s. I'm just hanging on that support. Give it a second here to 35s. 35s get filled. We'll just step on out.
Kind of forming a little channel here for Kron. I kind of want to make my wrist 1260s, but I'm going to let it do 1250s. I think I got a little greedy earlier with CGC. Lost out on some of that gains I made with it. It was still a green trade, but I think I held it a little bit too long. And so this one, if it breaks 1250, that's just my cue to jump out of it. What's up, Casey? What's up, brother? So, Casey, I took the swing this morning, man. I went with 300 shares. Didn't work out, but that was my first loss in 2.5 weeks, and so it's okay. I've actually had, so far, I've had more green trades than I have red today, but that 300 share loss kind of brought it down some.
Yep.
Overall, I'm not upset with it. I mean, still seeing the patterns okay, but ACB Anik barely got stopped out, but did get stopped out on ACB this morning with 300 shares.
Yep. It's part of it, you know. I'm stepping up all the way up to 500 shares, and it's just part of it, you know. Just got to get through the emotions.
It's the process, man.
Yep. All right, guys. Don't want to see 37s show up here on Tiva.
All right, there's 42s on Krons. Let's see if we get a break under this 1240 area. It's got some support there. Let's see if we get a crack underneath it. There's 41s, 40s. Good. Let's see if we get that crack under 40 here. It's got some support there. There's 38s. Ultimate goal, honestly, is just to let this thing test the low of the day. Kind of just playing with it now, but I know my levels. It was good risk reward. It followed through nicely, so that's the ultimate goal here. But gonna let the rest work. See if we get a bigger breakdown. There's a drop. Nice. There's 36s. It's always weird when the bid is bigger than the ask, though.
Or like mine, the same. I have the same bid and ask at the same price.
Yeah, I'm noticing it on both of them. That's mine too now. It's 1241.
You know what that is, right? That's the amount of liquidity that's in the stock.
Yeah.
There's so many traders trying to trade it
That's an even price.
that it's an even price. Exactly. All right, that looks great for me. Looking good. If this was my first trade of the day, I would probably step up to the plate and probably add here and look for that real nice takedown. But I'm just going to hold here to this 36, 37 level. I want to see a quick rejection here of 36 and then back down to the 30s. There you go.
Testing.
Now some weight there. Let's throw some weight on that 32. Working for that money today.
Yeah, man. I'm just trying to give CRON some time too. See if it. Oh man, I just disconnected the mic. I'm trying to let Cron work here. I mean, it's been consolidating around this area. You know, I know my risk level at this point. I can just stick to my plan, but I'm trying to give it that time. See if I get a much
That's all
bigger
you can do.
Right, just trying to give it that time to see if I can get a bigger gain. If not, green trade to green trade.
Exactly. It'll move you that much closer to getting through that little hit that you took this morning.
Yeah, I mean, 300 shares. Honestly, I took 300 shares. $30 loss is only 10 cents, and so I'm actually not upset with it.
That ad would have been perfect there, guys, on that bounce. It would have been perfect ad. Would have got an average probably down to 35s, and then you could hold for a 36 1 cent risk with your full size stepping in again. That's how we go ahead and size in. When we size in, we want to get it down to the risk, essentially even be break even or 1 to 2, maybe 3 cents max, but you're increasing your risk again. So what you want to do is kind of have huge risk with small reward coming, but the small reward isn't small because you sized yourself into it and you already have some profits.
Yep, exactly.
All right, don't want to see this Tiva back above 35s.
All right, we're down to 1240 with Cron.
It's supposed to wash out already.
See if we get a big washout under this low here. It's been testing this low for almost all day so far.
There you go. The pressure's on that 29 now. Here comes the breakdown pressure. There you go, taking out some of the bid. Took it down to 28 for a second. Let's see if it washes it down to 28 again. There's red, small red, followed by big red. That's what we look for.
Big red.
There it is, 5,000 shares going between.
All right, this is where I got to start watching Kron here. If it squeezes over 1250, that's where I'm just going to jump out, take my green trade, and be done with it.
Hasn't wanted to break, guys. So 35 is my out now. It needs to either pressure down or it's going to bounce back up, and then I'll get out. I'll hold the 33s, hold the 34s. I'm out at 35s.
Nice work, brother.
I'll hold into this
still in.
trade. Let it hold, let it hold. Giving myself a chance here to make a good extra $12. Will put us in the green for the day, nice green, versus kind of getting into a little bit of a green day, a small green day, but essentially up, and that's what we want to see.
Yes, sir.
It's one of those days that essentially we could have been big in the green. If I would have taken my last trade on APHA, would have been big in the green and would have stuck to that risk to reward that we always talk about. And that's really what gets us into the consistency basis, guys. It's not about that I know some specific secret. It's that I'm holding towards my risk and reward. And when you hold towards your risk and reward, you give yourself a true ability to make that profit.
Right. Yeah, Kron has just been consolidating here. I like my 1250 exit though. It's tested it once already. We'll see if it holds that level. If not, green trade's a green trade. Yeah, I'll get back to you in a second, Blade. Once I'm out of this trade, I'll talk about it. Hold on.
All right.
Trying to test 1250. Got to be close here. $12.50. See if we get a rejection back down.
If I see 35 show up again, I'll get out of this trade.
Yeah, at this point, Kron's kind of fighting that 1250. Gets over 1252. I'm out. I like to let it test the $0.50, but we'll give it one more try here. All right, I'm out. All right, so green trade, another green trade. I'll take it. I wanted to let it test 1250, but when it's cracking over, I think it'll probably come back down. And like I said, I wanted to give that 1260 area as my risk, but no stress. Green trade.
Yeah, I pulled my trade out too. Maybe could have held to that 36 level, but I saw 35 start getting filled with bigger volume. And so I didn't want to take the risk of this coming all the way back to 46 now and not taking this profit. I'm going to take that profit, guys. It's a nice gain there as you see it turn around and maybe kind of got out there early, guys. Yep, looks like it. But at the end of the day, going to take that green trade.
Good seeing you, man.
Take that green trade. And so.
Yeah, no, so to touch on what Blade said, a win to loss of 10 to 1 of a $5 return is still nothing compared to the win to loss of 1 to 10, with every loss being 5, but that final win being 120. This is actually something we talk about in class, right? So it all depends on your strategy. If your strategy is super accurate, then you can probably get by with using a little bit worse risk and reward because the accuracy rate is going to compensate for that. But if your strategy is like most, where it's, you might have 50-60% chance of winning, maybe the VWAP rejection is a good example, then the risk reward in that trade is crucial. And so it all just depends on the strategy. The one I use, the VWAP fade, it tends to have good risk and reward. And so, at this point, like I've shown pretty decent gains in the last month or so. And so my consistency is there. I just need to scale up in sizing a little bit. You know, like for instance, last month, if I would have used 1,000 shares, I would be up over $1,000 last month. And so it's just about, you know, at this point in my trading, it's just about scaling up a little bit. My
Listen,
accuracy rate is there.
I got faked out a little bit, but it's all good. We'll hold to that level. We sold on the support, and we'll go ahead and end the day, guys.
Yeah, I might have gotten faked out with mine too, but green trade's a green trade.
Yep, ending up $18 over on the day. Not bad, seeing as we had some losses and then a miss that would have been a big winner on the same trade that we were trying to do for these first two losses. Just shows you that if you do lose, doesn't mean you got to end the day. You just have to leave yourself enough room to take that risk again. You know, you don't want to cause yourself to where it's kind of a one and done show, because a one and done show shows that you're risking way too much on any one trade.
Right. That's what, at this point, I'm happy with today. I had one, you know, I took my swing with 300 shares this morning. Maybe if I would have used a consistent share size throughout all of it, it would have probably been a green day. But, you know, I took my shot this morning. At this point, I just need to scale up a little bit. It's the first loss I've taken in 2.5 weeks. And so, not a bad loss, tiny loss. Related to everything, especially since I used 300 shares this morning. So I've actually had 2 green trades and 1 red trade today. That first trade I used a little bit larger size. We're trying to scale up those. So that's how it goes. But yeah, guys, have a good day.
Guys, take care, guys. See you guys tomorrow.
Like I said, if anybody wants to sign up to TradeNet, I can post this link. You can get 10% off. It's the broker we use. I make a small commission from it, but it's one of the ways we keep the stream free. And so if you want to support the channel, you can go check out TradeNet if you're interested in using the broker I'm using. And, you know, good luck for the rest of the day, all. We'll see you all tomorrow, same time as always, and have a good day.